What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. So, one that we wanted to go over, namely because we love this record label, and it'd been a while since we've gone over anything like Funeral Doom related. And believe me, this one is definitely Funeral Doom adjacent related, maybe is. So we're going to go over the newest album from Assumption, Hadaen Tides. This also comes out on the 20th of May on Everlasting Spew Records. This band formed in 2011 in Italy. This is their second album. They started off as a two-man deathdoom / funeral doom project. They recently added two members, and one of the main guys behind this is one Giorgio Trombino, who is also a member of Besseris, which we fucking love. Lyricless, awesome fucking band. So naturally, when I saw that, I definitely wanted to check out this band. I'd heard a lot of good things about their debut. I just didn't pick it up. So we're gonna go over this thing, and wow. Do you like feeling good about anything? Then don't listen to this. But if you just like brutal, oppressive, depressive, everything, just, this is a dark, nasty, foreboding album, drenched in atmosphere and riffs, and walks the line between death doom and funeral doom very slowly.
Sometimes it feels like it's at 5 beats a minute.
Maybe 5 beats a week.
Or 1 beat a week. And if that's the case, you're going to be at this for a long time.
And this is a relatively long album, but it's interesting how the album is paced because it doesn't immediately kind of hit you with the funeral doom stuff. The opening track, Oration, is definitely more along the lines of death doom. Like, you have blast beats, you have the deepest, darkest guttural vocals that John McEntee hasn't belched out. And
incantation.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. And giant death doom breakdowns, big droning riffs with like dissonant melodies on top, and I mean like melodies in the quotation marks because these are just creepy and evil sounding.
The guitars for the most part are tuned to what, double Z?
Possibly.
It's low, and it's so hopeless. Sounds like a cruise ship full of Eeyores.
Let's just go right into the rocks. Fuck it. That track, the opening track, Oration, and the song, The Liquescent or Liquescent Hours. I don't know how to say that. In fact, that's the first time I think I've ever seen that word. Yep. But both of these songs definitely are closer to the more the death doom sound, or even like kind of like old school death metal. In fact, the Liquescent Hours, there's some progressions in there, and how the riff is broken up with sort of an odd breakdown rhythm / like fill. I don't know. It's a very odd meter.
Yeah. While the riff is pretty straightforward, the accents are oddly placed, and where you think they're going to be, they're not.
But it comes together as a very creepy, just kind of awesome standout riff. But part of me was like, man, this sounds a lot like Morbid Angel's God of Emptiness, except Italian. So it'd be like, hey, fuck you, my God, he's empty. Fuck you, Jesus, so why you do this, huh? Sorry to everyone in Italy. But the whole vibe of this song, creepy but brutal, and this was, you're gonna get the oppressive versus depressive, because the depressive definitely comes in here. But the oppressive sound is definitely in the brutality of riffs. Submerged by Hadaen Tides. Holy shit, that opening riff is so fucking heavy.
And I like the overall atmosphere of all of these songs. Like, everything is drenched in reverb at the bottom of a quarry, covered in tar. The kick drums on here are just gigantic.
Yeah, dude, the floor toms sounds like he's hitting a timpani drum sometimes.
But there is a lot of melody in here too, which is, I know that's a funeral doom trope, but these are like a lot of like clean, almost pretty melodies at times.
I heard them too, like, and they're like doomy, like, you know, like more associated again with like doom metal. I would say Daughters of the Lotus has some really catchy, I mean, again, this is like catchy for fucking fans of like death doom and funeral doom. Like, you know, fans of normal, positive, happy music would think we have issues, and they'd be right, but this is not for them. But there's hooks in there. There's actual like melodies. It's not just all dissonance. I mean, it's mostly dissonance, but there's some really good harmonies, especially at the end of the stupid huge closer, black trees waving. It's just 14 minutes, 14 plus minutes
14 minutes and 52 seconds of bleh.
Oh my god. And not feeling good.
And thank you for the waving trees. That's the nicest thing on this album.
Yeah, everything else is...
good for you. That's nice.
When they're black waving trees, so I mean, they're not pleasant trees. A lot of this, like, if you are a big fan of bands like Mournful Congregation, but you're also a fan of, like, a band like Mortiferum, or kind of somewhere in between, like Hooded Menace, like, a lot of this will sound familiar, but again, it's kind of how they pivot back and forth between, like, what you would associate with, like, just death doom, because there are blast beats on here. It does pick up the pace occasionally, but most of the pace is this lumbering, slow, doomy, just disgustingness where, again, it slows down and, you know, the bass drum only hits on, like, every other riff, and the riffs are single chords, essentially, just droning on into the vast empty space, you know, which I assume is the cavern that they recorded this in. But when the blasts come in, they start picking it up a little bit more like tremolo riffs. It sounds a little bit like dirtier and more aggressive. You get some stuff that might be akin to like Autopsy, both like, you know, Mental Funeral era and maybe like Severed Survival too. Or even a newer band like Witch Vomit, because, man, those vocals, very similar in terms of Witch Vomit, because they are low and they are gurgly. And where they sit in the mix, I think, is really cool, because they're back a little bit. But with the amount of reverb on them, that's probably where they need to be. Otherwise, I think those gurgles would take over. But vocally, there's a lot more than just growls on here, too.
And that's best portrayed in a song like Triptych, where you get actually this kind of like smooth bass line. It sounds like it's going to be sexy, but then the Terminator can sing, or chant for that matter. Clean spoken word vocals, very reminiscent of Faith No More's Motherfucker.
Yeah, actually that's the first thing I thought. Like, it's this little isolated bass line, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's pleasant, I would say. Like, and I don't associate that word with much anything on this album in terms of like the overall vibe, but this bass line, it kind of reminds me of the bass line on Down Two's Lies, I don't know what they say, which has this kind of like fun, almost jazzy bass line. But the mood is completely shifted as soon as the chants start, which I don't know if he's like reciting the script to a movie or
I don't know either. Like,
beat poetry.
Very
evil.
Very evil. The lyrics are actually very disturbing.
A lot of like chanted refrains, and like I even said, like, yeah, if I was, you know, listening to this in my car at night by myself driving on an empty highway, I think I'd skip to the next track. Not because I don't like the song, because it's a very interesting song. Like, it has this 3.5 minute start where it's all the stuff we were talking about, and then it goes into not necessarily like death doom or funeral doom, just like straight up doom metal riffs. Like Candlemass, or even like Black Sabbath or Saint Vitus. And it kind of has like this little boogie to it, a little bit of a swagger.
Well, and a lot of this record does, which is bizarre, when it's not at a beat a minute, it's the drums are like bouncy and there's a lot of feel and a lot of groove to it, which is weird because that doesn't often happen in bands like this. But that's actually what's... Overall, this song is actually kind of upbeat.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, it does pivot back to the spoken word and, like, isolated bass, but then it goes into, like, full-on death metal at the end, which, again, the transitions are very strange in this song. And a good chunk of this kind of follows the pace of a song like Daughters of the Lotus, which is slow, droning, and heavy. Like, it is, like, sonically heavy. It is, like, emotionally heavy. It's just dark. It is a dark, foreboding fucking song, and it really just kind of shifted the mood, because the first two tracks before that, while they had death doom breakdowns, they were a little bit more, like, energetically evil, if that's a thing. This one just sucks the air out of the room and replaces it with fucking fog and smoke and zombies. And it's just instantly creepy. But in terms of, like, atmosphere just kind of going nuts, the song Breath of Daedalus is probably the most different one on here, because it is essentially a dark, evil, horror synth, like, sort of score in space.
Yeah, right. Oops, we're in space. Shit, the Cylons are here. Reminds me of like a Portal soundscape, like some of that newer Portal.
Oh, Bulbia, you son of a bitch.
Or even kind of a take on Blood Incantation's newest offering.
Yeah.
Where it's just sound and synth, but it definitely sounds like it's in space. And, yep, why did I agree to get on this ship?
At the same time, like, all right, whereas Time Wave Zero was a little bit more warm and like more like, wow, let's look at all this cool cosmic beauty because I'm fucking higher than giraffe pussy right now. This is more like, you know, the opening credits to a sci-fi horror movie and you see the ship slowly passing by and you know everyone on that fucking ship is fucked. Like, you look at the cast list and like, well, who's going to survive? Tom Skerritt? No, probably not.
Poor Tom Skerritt.
So yeah, the whole vibe on that is kind of like Fulci movies, so Goblin scores meets Alien. Like, that is definitely the whole feel on that, and maybe even kind of question, like, I wonder what would happen if Fulci directed Star Wars. It probably would not have got a PG rating.
Or like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but directed by John Carpenter.
I'd watch that too.
I really would watch that, to be honest.
Would he do the score? He'd better do the score.
Ooh.
And one interesting thing that I thought was the whole front half of the album versus the back half of the album. The front half, I think, is more like brutal. Like, there's definitely a ton more of like the death metal sound on there versus the back half where I think more of the funeral doom comes out, and that might be partially due to the last track being almost 15 minutes long, and it's slow and it is slow.
Starts off with some creepy synths, and then Satan kicks in your bedroom door and then dumps burning coals on your bed, and then eventually he lets you muster up the strength to run down the hallway, but there's a plot twist. The hallway is full of scorpions and rubber cement. As the floor slowly hardens in the hallway and you are stuck there, then they dance around you and laugh. That's pretty much that whole track.
I told you to stay out of my dream journal, motherfucker. Overall, though, this was a really interesting listen. I do feel like it is kind of divided in half, and honestly, I got into the more death doom side because I kind of got everything I wanted. Like, I got the more up-tempo death metal side, the more brutal side, but I also got that giant funeral dirge feel too. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I skipped on their first album. I probably shouldn't have, because this is really good.
Fail.
I miss a couple every now and then.
Fucking fail.
But overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I dig this. I think this is a solid album. I think it kind of loses the script a little bit, kind of going full bore into the atmosphere a little bit, and kind of maybe losing the sense of the songs. But in terms of an atmospheric listen, in terms of like an immersive listen, yeah, immerse yourself in this. Not with the lights off, maybe with the lights on. It's a creepy listen. It's unsettling. And again, it kind of walks this line between two styles of bleak music that I like, and it does it pretty damn well. So yeah, if you've never jammed this band, definitely check this out. And probably check out the debut too. I'm going to have to do that eventually.
I've checked it out. It's not quite as good as this, but I'm going to give this 4. I enjoyed it. I enjoy creepy, evil, nasty, disgusting music. The fact that while the atmosphere is muddy, the overall production on this album is not.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Crystal clear guitars. The drums sound great. I like where the vocals sit and everything. I like all the melodic hooks. There's a lot more than I thought there would be.
It's a huge sounding album. It's dark, it's depressing, and it sounds like it was recorded in the swamps of sadness from The Neverending Story. And I'm pretty sure it's that giant depressed-ass turtle that's doing the clean vocals. It could be a member of the band, but I think it's that turtle. It's good that he's getting work now.
I enjoyed this. I probably am actually going to listen to this while driving home. I may even listen to the chanted part while driving home, just to see what happens.
Your car will float. There'll be a portal to hell that opens up, and, well, bad things will happen.
Yeah, but the music is going to be so good.
Valid. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below. When we get back from MDF, we're going to actually do some more stuff there. We're going to, well, I'll announce it on Patreon. You'll see.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun for you.
It might be fun for us.
Might not be fun for us.
It could be fun.
It'll be fun for you.
We also have a link down there to thrallsmetal.com where you can get one of our kick-ass shirts if you'd like, and there's another link down there.
There's another link to the Denver Death Fest. That's right, denverdeathfest.com. On September 30th, October 1st, and October 2nd, the Thralls of Metal has been given the opportunity to partner up with Swinging Noose Productions out of Denver, Colorado, to bring about the very first ever Denver Death Fest. If you would like to play this Death Fest, click on that link down there and submit your info on the page. There's also sponsorship opportunities. As of right now, there's about 35 bands that have submitted, and of course we will get to pick the lineup. So get in there, get us your stuff, let it be heard, see if we can get you on, and that'll be pretty fucking fun.
So with that, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, because you guys are the real heroes here, because you put up with us fucking knuckleheads. But seriously, thank you all. You guys are the reason why we keep doing this. We fucking love talking to you guys, run into you guys. We're hoping to run into a few of you at MDF too. Stop by, say hi. We're kind of friendly. I don't know, mostly kind of stupid, but we're kind of friendly.
Do you like to laugh? Do you like to laugh at stupid people? Well, guess what? We'll be at MDF.
Yeah.
And you can laugh, because we're stupid.
Definitely. So with that, thank you all once again, and we will catch you later.